Good day. If you are someone like me who likes to cherry pick news from all over the world, I watch Chinese, Russian, American news, you will think that we are living in alternative realities. When you tune into Chinese TV stations or even you read Chinese newspapers, the most common information you'll be getting is that a new maglev train has been launched that makes 660 kilometers per hour. You will read about new milestones in the production of electric cars. You will also possibly read of vast rolling out of solar panel stations and then new achievements in STEM, AI, and so on and so forth. It's unending. Then, if you come to American newspapers and American media organizations, the issue that will dominate always will be the war in Ukraine, the migrant issues, the various domestic issues of President Donald Trump, and one unending refrain, the war that is coming between America and China. It is as if we are living in different realities. I don't want to add the reality of reading Middle Eastern newspapers like Arab news. There you will just be in another world altogether where you will just be seeing new logistic developments, new developments in new city developments like Neom in Saudi Arabia. You'll just be seeing things that just show that what interests people is totally different all over the world. For the Chinese at this point in time, they continue to create new levels of excellence in human achievements, and that's what they put out in their news. That does not mean that they don't have socio-political engagements. You will always see that one new president from one new corner of the world has moved to go and see Xi Jinping. There's always a stream of diplomatic engagement. There's also a stream of diplomatic engagements also in the US. After all, President Trump always has people who come to ask of him. President Trump is the president of America and by many regards, the most powerful man in the world. So a lot of people come to ask favors of the American president from different countries. Their concern now these days is about the trade war and the tariffs that is being threatened on them. Recently, just a few days ago, Trump finally said letters will be going out to the different countries and they will be getting their own, they will be relayed information about what will be the tariff burden they will be paying whenever they want to trade in America. The whole idea is that if you're selling your products into America, you will have some burden. And if already Southeastern Asian countries have already started to get their letters. And it ranges from 20% to 40% so far. One other country that has got its own letter or has been threatened clearly as to what its tariff will be if it's selling products in America is Brazil. They have been assured of a 50% tariff if they're selling products in America. This is how we see the news. The news is so totally different. It's as if we're in different worlds. Good day and welcome to my channel, Ebima Omungo's Perspective on Global Affairs. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. If you have any comments after watching my video today, please leave them in the comment section and like and share. There's good news, finally. There's good news for the Ukrainians. President Trump has worked out a way by which he can give the unrelenting drove of supporters of Ukraine who have been on his case since it emerged that he had stopped arms shipment to Ukraine. We should know that there's a bipartisan support for Ukraine in the American political class, especially since there's almost the same bipartisan disdain for Russia, especially under the presidency of President Putin, in among the political class. So when Trump holds back arms supply to Ukraine, it's something that worries a lot of people, especially people like Senator Graham, Lindsey Graham, who, being a very close friend of the president, rolls with the activities and the decisions of the president. It is always one step away from the president, and it continues to assert in the president's ear that arms should be sent to put to Ukraine. He is the coordinator of the bone crushing bill in the Senate, where he claims he has got 80 senators who have agreed that they are going to put bone crushing sanctions against the people and the countries that support Russia's ability to persecute the war, and that is mainly those who buy Russian products. I guess in this case here now, it will not just be only Russian oil and gas, which will point to India and China. It possibly also will be Russian wheat, Russian fertilizer, and Russian uranium, and all the suites of products that Russia is so world famous for, and which a lot of countries need from Russia. So today we got the news, finally, that President Trump has worked out a means by which he would go against his personal vision of giving money and giving materials to the Ukrainian people. He has said that the Ukrainians will have a break, finally, from the unending and unrelenting drone barrage and missile barrage when NATO, through a mechanism whereby NATO will buy Patriot missile batteries systems from America and send to Ukraine. That is this workaround that he has finally come up with. But we all know the manufacturing challenge that is facing America. One of the greatest things that happened to me in coming to America is that I worked in manufacturing when I got here. And I worked in a firm that, believe it or not, makes precision materials. And some of the materials that we made in my company was we developed parts, very complex parts, using CNC machines, computer numerical machines, for what ultimately were going to be parts of the arrow systems in the arrow missiles and the Iron Dome missiles and all Patriot missiles. I worked in a company like that. And I saw the complexity and how hard it is to make these parts. Mine was always one part or two parts in that whole value chain. And some of those missile systems contained several thousands of parts. I know how sometimes just to get one of those precision parts to pass through quality control was very onerous. They have rejection rates that are very, very high, and it's a very hard process to put together the parts, talk less to assembling them into assemblies and then finally putting them into products. And before you go and put the electromagnetic components and all the things that finally make those parts, those missile systems to be worth not of $10 million to $35 million as they ultimately end up being. It's a very complex process and it's a hard process. Manufacturing is very hard, especially since it's automated now and it is precision art. It is not a joke. I can tell you that because I was in that business, and it is a real specialist business. And it's not just that it's hard. It's a one that there's a lot of shortage in skills for Americans here. So there's a system by which they are trying to ramp up not only materials, but also ramp up skills availability for people who can be able to manufacture products using this machinery. They are very complex machinery. We're in the age of AI and age of automation. I was very grateful that I experienced that. So I know how it is hard to put together a Patriot missile. And it's going to be a problem. It's not just an easy one. It's going to be a big problem getting these things to Ukraine. But at least there's good news, and Ukraine will somehow start to find the supplies, because Trump had tried to get other partners in the NATO alliance to supply Ukraine with Patriot missile batteries, but none was willing. It's so hard now, and with the competence and know-how and speciality of the Russians in their offensive missile development, it's every country is just doing well to hang on to their own Patriot missiles. Because when we see the way that Iskander missiles, Kinjal missiles, all these missiles that Russia is releasing every day, cruise and hypersonic missiles. Many countries feel worried that if if Russia trains their missile system on them, they may just need something to defend themselves. So Ukraine has a lot to cheer about. We don't know when it's going to start getting to them, but finally there's a workaround. And then beyond the workaround too, the government of Trump has not stopped in its attempts to try to find peace. The peace they want is the one that will be palatable to those who support Ukraine and to those who want Trump Putin punished for the war, the Russians punished for this war. So for them, any outcome that looks like Ukraine conceded land, territory, or Ukraine was made to hold the short end of the stick is not good enough for them. And therein lies the problem. The problem is that President Putin and the Russian state and the Russian people have put together some very hard conditionalities that they want. Conditionalities that are just hard for the Europeans to accept. Already, Frederick Miles, the new standard bearer of opposition to Russia, the new person who has taken over the mantle from President Biden, the great champion now of the Ukrainian people, has said that none of those maximalist conditions of Russia is acceptable to the European Union and the people of Europe. That is in line with the position of Ursula von der Leyen, who, under the framework of the European Commission, as European Commission president, has been at the head of unrelenting attack on Putin and the Russian state. So now we see Frederick Miles coordinating with French and the French president and the British Prime Minister as a new vanguards, because they are looking to a point where they feel that the Americans are stepping away. The body language of Trump is clear for all of them to see. So for him, all he just wants is that, okay, we'll find a way to raise the money, but please, America, give us these products. These products are really hard to come by. American technology is still superior in the aerospace space. Let's not forget that. Nothing matches what Elon Musk does with his Falcon 9 space rocket, and nothing also matches what some of these missile systems from America does. We don't know all of them. When America puts out a plane like the B-2 bomber, there's no rival and there's no equal of it anywhere in the world. America is preeminent in high-end manufacturing, even if they don't know how to manufacture zips and buttons as they used to anymore. So this is where it is. We now have a situation where Frederick Miles is a standard bearer now, and he has become belligerent. His statements are now so strongly against Russia that it has made the Russian political class to have their hairs standing on their back, because now we hear statements like Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia, saying that statements that Miles is making is akin to the statements made by the Nazi Germans before they invaded Russia in the 1940s. This is how the Russians now perceive them. Already we know, because of Miles, that Germany has replaced America as the most likely to attack Russia and the most hated country among the countries of the world by the Russians. They feel that the Germans are the ones who are most likely going to cause them harm. And that is now a strong sentiment, driven more by the rhetoric of Miles. Chancellor Miles, I must say. So here is the thing. But America's concerns are very clear also. Every day we see new realities. For Trump, he has to compartmentalize his actions. Now it is tariff. But as we are talking now, something is going on in the world that is going under the radar. You may recall there is a prime minister in Bangladesh who had to run away from a comfortable government position very unceremoniously, and that's Sheikh Hasina, the long-term prime minister of Bangladesh, who was ousted recently, a few months back. For her, her sin was that she did not allow America to have a base in Bangladesh. That was what she said, that the moment she said she wasn't going to allow the Americans who came and asked to have a military base in Bangladesh, that her problem started. Demonstrations were cooked up against her. Next thing she knew, there was hundreds and hundreds and millions of people on the streets. I don't think she even packed a suitcase when she was running and leaving for India. She left. But if you look at it now, why is Bangladesh strategic to the Americans? If you look at the map, you will see where Bangladesh is located. It's located around the Tibetan area and around the Pakistani area also, but it is also located close to the Chinese territory in the east, the desert area of the Xinjiang. That is where China has its main arterial trading routes to Europe and to the Caucasus and to the Central Asian states. That is a very important transport hub. It's a logistic hub. It is also where most of the oil is produced in China, and it is now the region that produces cotton, solar power. Xinjiang is a powerhouse of modern Chinese economics, even though we know that most of the things and the growth in China is taking place in the eastern part of China. Xinjiang has gone long beyond, way past this designation as a point where the Uyghurs suffered human rights challenges by the Chinese to now being a big industrial hub, a logistic hub, and I guess a military hub also. So for the Chinese, for the Russians, for the Americans, Bangladesh is a good position. They already are close to, they have good relationship with Pakistan, but Pakistan is not been a reliable partner, especially since Pakistan has pivoted very drastically towards China. So maybe Bangladesh now. And while I'm saying this, one very great event is going on in Southeast Asia there now. America is undergoing a big drill with some South Asian partners, including Philippines, Taiwan, and those countries that are very important to America in surrounding China and in containing China. Because like I had said before, the war between China and America is a war that is top to the policy planners and military planners in Pentagon. So as we are talking now, a drill is going on in that region where the transportation arm and the logistic arm of the American Transcom, they call it the Transcom, is coordinating activities, logistic activities in a drill with the Philippines, the Japanese, the Koreans, and all those countries that form the first island chain, and then later also the second island chain. Because these drills are going on to be able to coordinate in case there is a war with China. And that war is coming, I've always said. I always will say that war is coming. A hot war between China and America is going to happen someday. Not because of China is going to provoke it, but because America is going to force it. That's just how it's going to be. And America is preparing for it and all that. But we never know the hand that China is playing. China has become, they have history on their side in the sense that they have learned from 100 years of humiliation put on them by all the European countries that came to take a bite of China in the 19th and 20th century. France, Germany, Russia, even America had all forced China to our heels and made China sign deals that made them very, they lost their sense of pride, they lost their sense of ego, and we should understand that the Chinese don't forget. But they play the long game. How would you say the Chinese play the long game? I'll tell you. When they lost Hong Kong, they knew that they were losing Hong Kong for 100 years. But in 1997, they got back Hong Kong, and look at what it is now. It took another probably 20 years for the people of Hong Kong, for the British to know that they have left, they've lost Hong Kong. And they kept orchestrating pro-democracy demonstrations in Hong Kong. They tried to pull Hong Kong away from mainland China until 3 years ago. The Chinese cracked down with a new security law that they put on. made sure that the people of Hong Kong know that they are now Chinese. They waited 120 years for that, and they now have not only Hong Kong, but Macau fully in their hands because they took the Macau back from the Portuguese. They played the long game. They play the long game in everything they do, slowly. And so we don't know the hand. The hand of America is overtly clear for everybody to see. But there are processes by which China has been going ahead, making sure that they strengthen themselves and they are able to survive in case that day finally comes. One is since electricity is a very critical part of the world, the Chinese have electrified. They've emphasized renewables. They make new record investments in solar panel, wind power, and hydro energy. Dams. They're building the world's biggest dams every day. Now they have solar panel power that produce more, 3 times, 4 times more than the dam in the Yangtze River there. So we see that they keep expanding, they're increasing, reducing their vulnerability to the world. They buy most of their oil from Iran. They buy most of their gas now from Russia, closer home, countries that are closer to them, not far away. They play the long game and they're watching what the Americans are doing. But we really don't know how intense and how strong the American pressure will be. America just found out the hard way when recently, in trying to push the Chinese too hard, they lost the tariff war to the Chinese because the Chinese just brought out a card that they didn't expect: rare earth metals. Rare earth metals became such a very strong tool. It's like a repulsive, a pepper spray used on a bear. It chased away Trump from terrorizing the Chinese with tariffs, even though the Chinese have known for a long time that they did have that power. They did not know how strong that power was because they had used export controls on rare earth metals and magnets when they had a problem with Japan 20 years ago or 10 years ago. And they put Japanese companies on export control, and the Japanese had to start finding rare earth metal mines for themselves. And it almost ground down the production of Toyota and all these Japanese brands we see everywhere. The same thing too happened with the Americans. They just realized that at a time that they have expended most of their weapons and their missiles and their Patriot missiles, and they need to build new ones, they now need rare earth metal and rare earth magnets from China, and the Chinese put an export control. It was really damaging to both civilian production of products like aeroplanes and even cars. So today, it emerged that a mine that had been closed for 70 years in America, a rare earth metal mine, there's been expedited approval for it to start producing. And guess who is one of the biggest shareholders in this mine? The Pentagon. This mine is one of the biggest mines for rare earth, 7 of the rare earth metals in America. And the process for expediting its move into production has started. I guess national security will be the means by which they are going to bypass all the environmental laws and all the litigations that have constricted mining in America for the past 70 years. So that is going to be the new reality. So we live in a very complex world now. We live in a world where when you open the newspapers, one region is so totally different in its priorities and all that it says and all that, how it sees itself and how it interacts with the world. And another region is as if it's full of drama all the time, just drama. And this is the reality that is facing us. This is where I end my video for today. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comment section. And if you have any, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe, like, and share. Thank you. Until I see you in the next video.